friends, this is Lydia with Applique Market. Today we're talking about the in the hoop pocket design, and I've actually chosen the square design to do today for an example. Now you'll need to set up your monogram and your pocket design in your embroidery software before you get started. So that means you'll need to create your monogram, and then you'll need to insert that monogram as the fourth step in your pocket steps. So you're basically going to be creating a real usable functional pocket in the hoop. It will include the monogram, and then when we're done with this in the hoop, we will hoop the shirt and then attach the pocket that we've just made to that shirt. Okay, so what I've done, I am using a 6-needle machine, but you can also do the smaller sizes of the pocket on your 5x7 on a single needle, so no worries there. Single needle ladies, you can still do this design. So again, I have a single needle, so I am going to use this frame. This is just the one I like to use. It is a Durkee 6x6. I am using the 4.5-inch pocket size because I'm using an extra large size t-shirt. For the smaller sizes or youth sizes, I usually use the 4-inch, but when I get up to large, extra large, or bigger than that, I go ahead and move up to the 4.5-inch. This design also includes a 5-inch, a 5.5-inch, and a 6-inch. So if you want to make something, larger than a regular pocket on a shirt size, that is available for you. So what I've done is hooped cutaway stabilizer. You can also use tearaway in this step, but I've found that the cutaway, I like it a little better because it gives my cotton fabric a little more stability once it's sewn onto the shirt. It gives a little bit more stability for the monogram too, so it doesn't droop or anything from the weight of the thread of the monogram. So tearaway or cutaway, but I do recommend hooping cutaway. Now once you get your design ready to go on your machine, you'll just place your hoop on there and run the first stitch. That's stitch number 1, which is the pocket placement stitch. So this will create a placement stitch showing you where to put your fabric. So let's go stitch that right now. Okay, so as you can see, I have the pocket ready to stitch. I'm doing my placement and tack down stitches as well as the top stitch across the top of the pocket in my white thread, and then my monogram in a hot pink thread. So let's go ahead and run that first placement stitch. Okay, so now you've run your placement stitch, and I'm sorry this is hard to see, but basically it has stitched the area where your first piece of fabric needs to go. And if you notice on the right side over here, let me get in a little bit closer, you can see that it's left stitches. It has not completed the pocket right here. That is for when you get finished stitching the shell of the pocket and you're ready to flip it inside out, or right side out, excuse me. So this is for turning it when we're done with the pocket, okay? So don't worry about that. That space of empty stitches is supposed to be there, okay? So what I'm going to do is, well, first, I usually cut a piece of fabric about 6-inch or 7 inches square. I think this one was, this is about 6.5, 7 inches square. And then I'm going to take just a spray adhesive and lightly spray it directly over the area where my placement stitch has stitched and where my pocket fabric is going to go. Now this first piece of fabric you lay down with the right side facing you, so right side up. You want to see the print, not the wrong side of the fabric, okay? So I'm just going to push that down onto where I've sprayed in my hoop, and then run stitch number 2, which is the tack down stitch. And this stitch will actually tack down the fabric, and you do not cut after this stitch. This is not when you cut. So again, once this stitches, you'll notice that the pocket does not stitch all the way around. That's the same area that is left open on purpose for you to be able to turn the pocket at a later time once the pocket is finished. So let's go stitch the tack down stitch. Okay, so here is the tack down stitch, and it will go all the way around the fabric and leave. Now the third stitch is the top stitch of the pocket, and that is basically the stitch that goes along the top of the pocket. It will be above the monogram, and it's basically for decoration. It's just a decorative stitch. So it is not necessary if you don't like it. This shirt is for me. I personally like it, so I'm going to go ahead and run that stitch. Okay, so here is stitch number 3. This is the top stitch. Okay, so the monogram has finished stitching, and we're ready to put the second piece of fabric on the pocket. So same piece of fabric, same size, and what I do is, again, very, very lightly spray with spray adhesive right on top of the monogram, and just barely spray that. Okay, so I'm going to turn the fabric to the wrong side, so the right side of the fabric will go against the monogram. Okay, so I'm just going to center that in the hoop, flatten it all down, and then I will take this back to my machine, and basically this is the inside of the pocket that you're making. Okay, so the 4th stitch was the monogram. Now this is the 5th stitch. It's the tack down stitch for the back side of the pocket, what will become the back side of the pocket. Okay, so this is the tack down is going to stitch the 2 pieces of fabric that you're using together, and this is what's forming your pocket. Okay, so you've gotten through all of the steps. You've done your monogram, you've put the second piece of fabric on top and run that tack down stitch. Now this is when you unhoop this pocket, okay? So you'll take it out of the hoop, and what you're going to do, and you can use regular scissors or you can use these scissors, but what we're going to do is cut around the pocket, around where this stitch is. You're going to leave about a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and just make sure that you're not cutting too close, because you can always trim it down later. So I've got my pinking shears. I am trimming with about a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around the pocket, just following that stitch line. This is what we have, okay? So this is, the pocket has not been turned yet. Okay, so this is the back. This is actually the inside of the front. So now what we're going to do is take our scissors and we're going to clip these corners off. So we're just taking the very tip of it and just clipping off those corners. What that does is when you turn it inside out, it makes it lay flatter, and it is going to make it lay flatter and a little bit more smoothly. So there won't be any corners trying to stick up and be in the way there. So because I'm using this square pocket, I had a few little extra corners to clip. So I clipped this one, this one, this one, this one, then of course the two at the top. Okay, so now what we're going to do is turn the pocket inside out. Okay, so what I recommend is getting something like a pin, something with a blunt edge, not the sharp end of your scissors, because you don't want to poke a hole through these seams. So you know, you can use something like this if it's not too sharp, but what you want to do is just go in the side where it did not stitch. Remember, we left that opening on all of our steps, so it's got the little pocket right here, and you're going to very slowly turn this inside out. So what I do is I kind of just pull, kind of bunch the fabric on the fabric side, not the stabilizer side, because that's the thicker side, and just start working it through. Okay, like maybe take one of these corners on the opposite side and pull it through that opening, and just gently work all of the pieces through that little opening. And again, it's not just going to pop right side out all of a sudden. You've got to work at it a little bit, and you've got to be gentle so you don't pop any of the stitches. Okay, so I've got my pocket turned mostly inside out, and I'm just going to take the end of this pencil and just kind of poke the corners. Actually, I'm going to use this because it's a little firmer. So see how I'm just poking the corners? Okay, and making sure all the seams are all the way out, and go around all the edges. Make sure each of those corners, if you're using the square design, make sure all those corners are nice and flat and popped all the way out, and just go around the whole pocket. Okay, now once you've done that, you're going to have something that looks like this. It's a kind of a wrinkly pocket, and it's got a big opening on the side. Okay, so get your iron nice and hot, and we're going to iron that out. Okay, turn it over to the back side, and I just give it a little spray and iron it flat. Okay, make sure to get all of those corners nice and ironed and flat, and then when you get to the side that's open, tuck it under on both sides, just as if you were about to stitch it closed. Okay, so I've tucked it under, so you make sure that when you tuck it under that it's even with the other stitches. So you want a nice straight line on that side. Okay, so it takes just a minute to get it all lined up, and then I just go ahead and press that side that I've just opened up. Okay, now it's really important to make sure that all of your seams are as far turned out as possible, because when you go, if you choose to do the second hooping and do the tack down on your embroidery machine instead of a sewing machine, you're going to want this to be as close to the original size as possible so that your stitches line up on the pocket where they should be. Alright, now it's time to get our t-shirt and line that up and get it ready. Now, once you've finished the pocket and you have that pressed and ready to go, we do strongly urge that you use your sewing machine to put this on your shirt. We do understand that some of you don't have that option. You don't have a sewing machine, or you prefer not to. And that's fine. And if that is your case, then this next step is for you. So we offer a PDF within the files that you receive when you purchase the pocket, and it's a pocket placement guide for the in the hoop pockets. This is going to vary based on the type of shirt you're using, as well as the style and the size. So make sure that you use your best judgment when you're finding that placement area for your shirt. Realize that if you have a fitted feminine style v-neck shirt, that's going to be different than, say, a plain collar unisex fit shirt. Now, our placement guide is just that. It is a guide. It's a suggestion. It is based on sizes small through extra large for adults. So if you're doing youth sizes or smaller than an extra large, you're going to have to use your best judgment based on the information that we've given you. So use that guide if you like, and find where the pocket needs to go on your shirt, and go ahead and hoop your shirt. Okay, so we're going to do that and then put it on the machine, and you're going to run those last 2 steps. So I've hooped this shirt, just the shirt. I don't have stabilizer or anything under that. So just the shirt and the hoop. And we're going to run this next to last step, which is the placement. Okay, so we've done the placement for the pocket on the shirt. This is the next to the last step before actually stitching your pocket to the shirt. So you'll see all it did was the right, left, and bottom stitches. It doesn't do the top, because when this stitches on, this will be a functional pocket, and you can use it if you desire. So I recommend spraying just a little bit of spray onto that area so that your pocket will stick. And what you're going to do is line up this side and this side. Hopefully you can see that. But we're getting about, that's about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch inside this outside line on both sides. Now, that's lining it up on the edges, so we need to line it up on the bottom as well. So you're going to pull it up and make sure that the bottom is in line with those, and gently place it on that area. Now what I do is I hold one side and pick the other side up and see where it's going to stitch. So I need to move that side over a little bit. I come to this side and I see it's going to stitch a little bit more on this side than this side. So adjust a little bit more. Again, with the bottom, make sure that's going to line up evenly, because you don't want to get it off and stitch over your monogram or stitch on the outside of your pocket. You want to make sure everything is ready to go and lined up. So spraying that adhesive will make sure that your pocket doesn't move once you get it ready where you want to go. And we'll take it to the machine and run the tack down stitches now. Okay, we've got the hoop on the machine, and we are ready to stitch that tack down stitch that goes along the right, left, and bottom sides. And a tip for this step is, if you can, slow your machine way down. So this is going to seem super slow, but it is a helpful thing to do. Okay, so that's looking like it's about the 1/4 of an inch that we want it. And it is going to stitch around the pocket twice. That's going to make sure that that's a durable pocket and that it stays on there securely. Okay, so I've taken the shirt, the hoop off of the shirt, and I have the pocket that is stitched on there very securely. And let me show you the inside or the back of it. You just have that one little stitch that we did at the end. It's that double tack down stitch. So it's on there securely, and it looks great, and it's a functional pocket. So hopefully that answered your questions and kind of guided you through doing this. I hope this helped, and join us next time.